From the Apopka Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenni Carlson here with Barry Tramel. Time for our weekly 5 and 5 segment, Barry. 5 topics, a minute each. One bell. Let's get right to it. What about this question, Barry? OU football. What is wrong with the Sooners?
Well, I'm not sure it's a complete question. Do you mean what's wrong Saturday against Kansas State? Well, Landry Jones was awful. You can't have a quarterback-centric offense and the quarterback not play well and survive, and the Sooners didn't. He was awful. Landry had 2 turnovers, could have been 5,
right,
and he missed a lot of open passes otherwise, so he played terrible. What's wrong in general? Lost 9 of their last 25 Big 12 games, whereas they lost, I think, 9 in the previous 8 years. I just think it's a dip in talent. The Sooners just don't have as many good players as they need to. They need to build the talent base back up.
Yeah, I think the talent is down. And I think there's also, when you look more long-term, I think it's a question of development of the players they have, because I think they've got good talent. I think they've got maybe as much talent as anybody else in the Big 12. The Big 12 looks maybe a little more wide open than we thought too, Barry. But, I think Oklahoma's got talent. You got to develop it. You got to bring it along. I'm not sure we've seen that as much out of Oklahoma either. All right, let's go to Stillwater with this question, Barry. OSU football. Biggest concern versus Texas. What is it?
Can they run the ball without the threat of the downfield passing attack? Can Joe Wickline and Todd Monken figure out a way to open up the running lanes, get Joe Randall and Jeremy Smith open? Cowboys ran wild on Texas last year. Jeremy Smith had 140 yards on 7 carries.
Wow.
But that's with the threat of Brandon Whedon back there firing off passes to Justin Blackman. He's gone. Wes Lunt's gone. J.W. Walsh does not have the big arm. Cowboys are going to have to force the run game. I don't know if they can do it.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. I think a big concern for Oklahoma State also has to be Texas's run game. Texas wants to run the ball. In the pass-centric Big 12, Texas is sort of an anomaly, like K-State, Barry, and we saw how much of a challenge that was for Oklahoma a week ago. They want to run the ball first and foremost. David Ash is looking really good. 7 touchdowns, no interceptions this year, a guy who was really turnover-prone a year ago. Oklahoma State's going to have to stop that running attack. And Barry, in the last time we saw Oklahoma State's defense against a good team, we know how that turned out in Arizona. All right, Barry, what about this one? Replacement refs. Does this whole episode tarnish Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner?
Yes, it does, by all means. It's been a rough year on Roger. He's got the Bounty Gate, which has been sort of a problem politically for him, and now you got the replacement refs. It's not really Goodell's fault, the replacement refs. This was an owner-mandated deal. I think Roger Goodell would have settled long ago. The refs were sort of the victims of owners who wanted to make a statement, wanted to get more control. It wasn't even so much financial as it was controlment of the refs. So, but Roger gets it on him. Yeah. It is tarnished because the NFL is all about quality control, and what we saw the first 3 weeks of pro football, the lack of quality control.
Sure, it really does tarnish him. I have to disagree with you a little bit, Barry, and here's why. It's because every week, even from the start of things, you heard people talking about, I'm not going to watch this anymore. I'm not going to watch this anymore. And when that call was made at the end of that Sunday night game, or Monday night game, and everybody went crazy, the amount of people that were clearly watching was huge. I mean, tons and tons and tons of people watched this. So even though it wasn't good for the product, people were still watching. And really, in the end, I think that's what Roger Goodell's about, making people watch the game, and people were still watching. I'm not sure that we're going to really be talking about this in the long term. All right, Barry, our fun question of the week. What's your favorite current TV show? Emmys were this last weekend. What do you like to watch on TV these days?
The Emmys were last week? I didn't even know. When you say current TV show, you mean something that's not a rerun, not
right.
instant. Oh.
It can't be MASH. It can't be Seinfeld, which are your favorites.
We got a problem.
I know we got a problem.
We got a serious problem. But it's your lucky day. I actually have discovered a new show. It's the only thing I really watch that's newly made. It's on the Food Network of all things. It's called Restaurant Stakeout. This guy goes in and puts hidden cameras into struggling restaurants and sees how the staff is screwing around when the boss isn't around. It's fantastic. It's fun to watch the busboys.
Does it make you worry about going to restaurants when you see what happens?
I don't worry about much of anything, but it does make me look around at restaurants. Since I've been watching it, I go to every restaurant and look around and say, well, look at that, they're not supposed to be doing that. It's great. It makes me think, where do we need to put hidden cameras? Do we need to put them in our newsroom? The answer is yes. Do we need to put them in doctor's offices? The answer is yes. Hidden cameras all around.
I don't know if I'm buying into that, Barry, but my favorite show, Modern Family. Do you watch Modern Family?
I've seen it a couple times, and it's rip-roaring funny, I have to admit.
Very funny. I'll go with Modern Family. All right, last one, Barry. Back to OU football. Since we're talking about what's wrong, let's talk about who's to blame. Maybe again, an improper question. Who's to blame last Saturday? Who's to blame long term? But who do you put the blame on?
Well, I guess it's not a complete question because I would say, who's to blame for what?
Yeah.
For the gradual decline or the little dip? Well, then it's Bob Stoops. I mean, the buck stops with him. I will say this. He's never gone more than a year without winning the Big 12 title, and he's still on track for that if he's got to win this year. But anything you want to blame OU football for, you got to blame Stoops. He's the one in charge. I just think maybe we've set the house on fire a little too soon. I don't know that it's reason for anarchy or rebellion. I think OU football is in okay shape. I think it's in great shape to rebound and get back to the elite level. But it's definitely taken a step down from where it was.
Yeah, it's gonna take work. It's not like it's just gonna happen. And I think that's the thing that, you wrote about this, Barry, before the game on Saturday. The fact that, if the Sooners lost that game, it was going to be a sign of some bigger issues, and I think we saw that. There was really an uneasy feeling in the stadium on Saturday night. People just really feeling like this was a really telling game, and I think it was in the end. You saw a lot of issues come to the forefront. They're going to have to work to get it back. It's going to have to be better recruiting, better coaching, and I'm with you. It starts with Bob Stoops. He's going to have to answer if this slide continues, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the year. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.